They went up through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmon, the descendants of Anak, lived. Now Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. When they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes the Israelites cut off there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. Eshcol means literally in Hebrew, cluster. Imagine a single cluster of grapes that is so heavy that it takes 2 men to carry it. I mean, this was really a good land, right? God wasn't kidding when he said this is a good land. But everything isn't quite as good as it seems, because 10 of the 12 guys who went in there saw a problem. They saw a big problem, all right? They took their eyes off the prize. Look back at verse 22. They went up through the Negev and came to Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived. These guys, we talked a few weeks ago about Og, king of Bashan, and about Goliath. The descendants of Anak were literal giants. In fact, these 10 guys said, you know, we look like grasshoppers compared to these guys. Okay, that's how big they are. And so there's a few of these guys still living, and they said, we can't take this land. Those guys are going to kill us. Now understand, the land had already been given to them. God had already done all these miracles in their lives, all these plagues upon Egypt, including parting the sea. He'd already done all of this, and he'd already given them the land. It already belonged to them. But 10 men didn't have the faith to receive it. Not only that, but they came back and poisoned all of the rest of the people. They put their fear into the hearts of everybody else. They took their eyes off the prize. Instead, they focused on the problem. Isn't that what we so often do? Instead of seeing the possibilities, we only see the problems, right? Life is hard. But think about it. I mean, isn't that why God waits for us to be a grown-up before he asks us to take it on and to lead? You know? I mean, really? Well, yeah, it's hard. It is hard. That's why he waits until we're grown-ups to say, now take it on. You know, it's true that oftentimes it's going to be really hard for you. But God expects us as grown men and women to be fully trained for the battle, to be fully engaged in the battle, and to be fully confident in our leader who says to all of us in this battle called life, he says, hey, listen, your team already won. Your team already won. You know, unlike the Super Bowl, where it seemed like a team had already won, okay? This is more like the game where you're ahead 100-0 and you're down to the final 40 seconds, and it's like you're all discouraged because it's going to be really hard, and I think that guy's going to hit me. You know, when they hike the ball, I'm sure he is, and I'm probably not going to catch the ball anyway if they throw it to me, and they never throw it to me anyway, but if they do, and you know, it's like that. It's just like, God says, wait. That's no way for a child of God to act. Your team already won. You're focusing on your problems. You're not focusing on the prize, on the promise. They just couldn't see that group of spies. They couldn't see past their giant problems, and so they refused to receive the gift that God had offered. And I want you to notice the progression that led to the loss of blessing, because the same progression is true in our lives. First, the progression of lost blessing is first we take our eyes off the promise. God said, I'm giving you this land. Okay? Already done. Done deal. I'm giving it to you. Giving, that's present tense. It's not I have given because you didn't possess it yet, but I'm giving it to you. It's the promise. You take our eyes off the promise. You know, when God said that, that was it. It's a done deal. God's fighting for you. You don't have to wonder how things are going to end. Right? You win. But often we just take our eyes off the promise. Second, we take our eyes off the prize. He says, look at this beautiful land I'm giving you. You know, the prize is the beautiful land. And we take our eyes, people, it's a new heaven. It's a new earth. It's a new body, clothed with immortality, right? It's an eternity of wonder, spent living not only with one another, with every follower of Christ who's ever lived, but also with the God who created us all. It's an amazing thing. No more sorrow, no more crying, no more pain, no more sickness, no more death. This is the prize, and we have to keep our eye on it. We take our eyes off the promise, we take our eyes off the prize, the progression of lost blessing. The next thing we do is we forget God's provision because we've taken our eyes off the promise and the prize. And so, you know, only 2 guys out of the 12 remembered God's provision. You know what those 2 guys said to the people in Numbers 14:9? They said to the people, listen, don't rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land. We will devour them. Why? Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. See, they're remembering the provision. It's already been given. Do not be afraid of them. If you are a child of God, then He is your provider. You know, one of the, maybe the greatest, certainly one of the greatest people, man or woman of prayer, since the New Testament church began, is a man named George Mueller. He's with the Lord. We'll get to meet him one day. He was born in 1805, died in 1898. Lived most of his life in Bristol, England. And during that time, most orphans lived in miserable workhouses or they were on the streets. And Mueller took them in. He fed them, he clothed them, he educated them. He cared for more than 10,000 orphans in his lifetime. And yet, he never ever made his ministry needs known to anyone except to God in prayer. It was only at the end of each year when people read his annual report that they even discovered what his needs had been and how God had met them. He had over 50,000 specific recorded answers to prayer in his diaries. Over 50,000. 30,000 of those answers, he said, came the same day or even the same hour that he prayed them. Think of that. That's 500 definite answers to prayer recorded in his diary, more than one per day, every single day for 60 years. As an example, one morning they had no money, they had no food. And all the orphans gather around the table. He said, well, we're going to thank God for the food. And they prayed, thanking God for the food. And there was a knock on the door. It was a baker who said he had all of this extra bread, didn't know what to do with it, wondered if the orphans could use it. There was another knock on the door. It was a man who delivered milk, and he had problems. I don't recall if it was with his horse or his cart, but couldn't deliver the milk, didn't want to dump it on the ground. Could they use it? They had already said grace and had no money and no food. And God did this again and again and again and again and again. You see the progression of lost blessing. We take our eyes off the promise. We take our eyes off the prize, and then we take our eyes off God's provision. We forget His provision. And finally, the fourth step in the progression of lost blessing is that we surrender our possession. Well, what do we surrender? You and I. I mean, we surrender ultimately the life that we could have had. We surrender the joy that we could have had. We surrender the peace that we could have had. We surrender the impact that we could have made. Jesus lays the prize before us every bit as much as a given